I got a new job. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nash. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Nashley, but everyone calls me Nash. And on this side of the internet, I like to share my life in my 20s, a little bit of everything, honestly, mainly lifestyle and budgeting, finance, that sort of thing. So if that's something you might be interested in, stick around, you might like what you see. In today's video, I just wanted to sit down and chat with you guys to kind of explain what's been happening that has led me to this moment, and I'm really excited to share this new chapter. So let's get into it. So much has changed in the best way possible, and honestly, it's been the biggest blessing and the biggest journey. Let's bring it back a little bit. For a solid 6 months, I was actively applying every day. I was on Indeed literally every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes even Sunday night before a new work week, looking for all different types of jobs. Honestly, I can say I applied over to like 70 jobs. I heard from about probably 10% of the jobs that I actually applied to, with the generic, thank you for taking the time to apply to our job. We have decided to consider other candidates or take, the direction, a different route, yada yada. But I wasn't getting much attention for interviews or any kind of follow-up. I was getting very discouraged. I felt low-key a little desperate because I wanted to get out of my current role so bad, and not for the job itself, because I, if you didn't know, was a bank teller for over a year and I enjoyed it, but I knew once I hit the year mark, move up and become a banker or try a different, direction for my career. I finally heard back from actually a credit union for a relationship banker position, which was kind of a hybrid of both banker and teller, and I was kind of in the process of the multiple interviews, but I still wasn't 100% sure. I was obviously still moving forward in that direction because that was the first job that actually reached out with interest in me as a candidate, so I didn't want to fully just take that one out of the equation, and I was just kind of leaving it in God's hands, seeing, if this is meant for me, it'll work out, and if not, something else will come along the way. During the communication through emails of trying to figure out the best time to schedule an interview, an in-person interview for the credit union, I received a call from an unknown number, and I never really know what business or place is reaching out to me until I listen to the voicemail, because like I mentioned, I've applied to over 70 positions. So it's honestly a surprise to me the few times I've experienced it, who is actually reaching out. So I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was low-key like over a month ago. I received a call for a secretarial assistant position for the city, and I was in shock because I went back on Indeed and tried to figure out when I even applied for this position, because I applied to so many cities near my area for different roles within the same kind of secretary, receptionist, assistant type of vibe. And come to find out, it was a very simple, straightforward application of just submitting your resume, and their closing date would be a month after I applied. So I honestly, it went over my head. I forgot all about it, and because I wasn't hearing back from many places, that's the last place I thought would reach out to me. But they did. When things are for you and when God has something in store, I'm telling you, you don't have to work so hard to make it work. The pieces will just fit together. And when I think back on this whole journey, all the pieces just fitting together. So the interview came, and days leading up to it, I was trying to be very mindful of how I wanted to present myself, how I wanted to basically pitch me and what I bring to the table. And honestly, TikTok helped me put together my little elevator pitch of tell me about yourself. And I walked in, so I was very intimidated sitting in there with these two women just interviewing little old me, and I felt literally this big in the room. But I did not let that discourage me. I still went in there with my, head held high, and I was just myself, and I was able to deliver that pitch. And just seeing the reaction and seeing how impressed, because they mentioned it right away, how impressed they were with what I said and just how I presented what I could bring to the table, I was at such ease having the rest of the conversation with them. I knew I was being interviewed, but it was 25 minutes of just conversating, of trying to understand the type of office that I'll be working at and what they do there and what I would be doing. And it was very smooth and straightforward. And my first thoughts were, this was my best interview yet. Crazy thing is, they actually told me that they would be making a decision the following day that I should be hearing out. So the next day, I was at work and I was antsy the whole day. Because they put that seed in my brain that they'll be making a decision the next day, I was paranoid when I didn't hear back by the end of that day, that I didn't know what to do. But normally when it comes to stuff like that, multiple days pass before, decisions like that are made. And it was 3 days before I actually heard back. The longest 3 days, I must tell you. But I remember that Friday, I was drafting my email just to follow up to thank them for their time with me, taking time, to sit with me and to discuss the position and if there was anything that I can do. Kind of planting a seed to them, like, hey, I'm still here, and not to seem desperate, but just to kind of remind them that I'm still waiting to hear back. And I finished the draft, I saved it, and I was like, if I don't hear back by noon, I'll send it. And literally minutes later, I see the number come up, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I ran downstairs, I picked up the call, and literally it was the office manager telling me that they would love to extend the offer to me for the secretarial assistant position. And girl, I was too stunned to speak. I can't even remember exactly what I said, but I know from my response, she started to kind of like giggle a little bit from my excitement for the job. And it's just been like surreal. Like, I'm living this now, and just talking about it just makes me so happy, because God is too good and God is too faithful, and God will never leave you in a place of just struggle forever. I just didn't want to feel like I would constantly have to stress about money. Like, I would get paid, and by the end of that day, like, I felt like I had no money to work with until the next week. I was a little bit under $22 an hour at the bank, working 38 hours roughly, give or take. To put into perspective, now I am a city employee working 35 hours a week, only Monday through Friday, and the hourly amount turns out to be $27 and some change. I'm just under $28 an hour. Bro, that's a $6 hourly increase. I've cried about it, tears of joy, tears of excitement. It's just been such a long time coming. It's hard being financially independent, even with me 2.5 years under my belt of living on my own and providing for myself financially. It's gotten very tough this year. I feel like I finally breathed. I feel like I was gasping for air for months, and new chapter has been so refreshing after such a rough patch in my life. And I'm really excited to see what my journey looks like as a city employee, and you know, just embrace this role and this chapter in my life and just take everything that comes with it. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys, and hopefully I can get into kind of sharing what that looks like. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.